Welcome back. Still here today on OSRC television, the second leg of our discussion segment on the program will center on the issue of election results, the Electoral Act, the regional politics, and of course the developments in the political space heading into March 18 governorship and state houses of assembly election. I'm being joined this morning by a barrister at law who is also a politician, Barrister Felix Alonge. Thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Oh, thank you for having me. Good morning.
Yes, the 2023 general election is already here, no doubt. But of course, the first leg has also opened up what some say it's a potpourri of some sort.
Exactly.
Different things come into play.
Yeah.
Nigerians, whether they were going to vote was an issue. Who they were going to vote for was another issue.
Yes.
How the election or the electoral umpire will conduct the process was another issue. The issue of security agencies also came to fore in the build-up to the 2023 general elections. But the aftermath of the February 25 poll has also raised several issues. Now there are some calling for the resignation of INEC chairman. Some say they will protest. Some say they want to get access to materials of election. All of this put together says the process is still an evolving one that must also continue to aspire to be perfect. But for you, it's another beautiful morning to talk about these issues.
Yeah.
And we have another election coming on Saturday. But let's start from where things stand right now. According to reports, the BVAS reconfiguration is on or will be completed today, max tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
And INEC Rex are also expected to brief the commission. The back and forth about the court case involving where INEC can back up without access or without interference of political parties, and INEC's rejection of disobedience to the court order. What do you situate all of these things?
Thank you. Good morning, Nigerians. We thank God that the presidential election, the National Assembly elections has come and gone. And it has actually introduced a new paradigm into Nigerian political dispensation. For me, what major stakeholders have actually said, regardless of some reservation, substantially, that election was successful. And that election is a reflection of desire of Nigerians that in any political contest we are bound to have winners and losers, particularly in a democratic practice. Nigerians have spoken, and we now have president-elect. We have senators-elect. We have House of Representatives elect. And what actually happened, we need to actually, within the limits of Nigeria environment, INEC should be appreciated.
For doing their job?
For doing their job within the limit of technology that is available. Because the political space has been overheated. And some people have gotten the impression that, the election is going to be in their favor. They have prepared their own results, not minding the mindset of Nigerians and what Nigerians actually want at this particular time. More so that some of the political gladiators, they whip up sentiments based on certain fault lines that have actually created problems for Nigerians. Issue of ethnicism, issue of religion, issue of regional coloration, thinking think that those 4 clients could be manipulated for their own advantage. But along the line, Nigerians, they were disappointed by Nigerians that this time around, our focus is on Nigerian projects. And that is why, if you have read comments of the former president, one of the military juntas, Ibrahim Babangida, he said, the failure of Peter Obi is the failure of religious politics in Nigeria. And that nobody could whip up sentiments on religious basis again. And that the failure of Atiku is the failure of regional politics. And that no political gladiator or candidate can tell anybody or any voter, please vote for me because we are from the same region.
Are these lessons well learned?
And he said, the vote for Tinubu reflect Nigerian votes for any Nigeria.
But these votes are also being contested.
This is a democratic environment. Let me tell you, the expectations of those people and a lot of permutations, coupled with prophecies, unsolicited and unscientific opinion poll, have overrated some candidates within the limits of their popularity and acceptability.
But some say all of this would not have been an issue for discussion if that, what many say, an integral part of INEC's confidence building build up to this election, the transmission of those results to their IRF portal had functioned as it was expected to be. Don't you also share in that?
Share in that, but is of little or no effect, and it cannot substantially affect the outcome of what will likely be the position of the court at the end of the day. Because election is won and lost at the polling unit. And all these candidates, they have their polling agent, particularly the formidable contenders. Tinubu, Peter Obi, Atiku, and to some extent, Konkoso, they have their agents. If you don't win at the polling unit, regardless of the technology being deployed, there is no way you can manipulate the process of coalition for your own favor. Those who lost, they lost at the polling unit because their agents were given the hard copy of the results. And all of them, they have their own situation office in which they were collecting the results from polling unit to Work Collation Center, to the State Collation Center, and to the National Collation Center. It's just a mere deceit that some are protesting. They have the right to protest. They have the right to protest. And as a matter of fact, the Electoral Act does not foreclose manual process as part of coalition of the results. And it is not mandatory for INEC that, even the constitution, the electoral has not even provided for, automatically the transmission will go simultaneously. It is the result collated, that result sheet from the polling unit that was expected to be uploaded. And they did upload it. And that's why INEC is saying that whoever is contesting, he has the right to contest the result. And if there is a difference or in terms of a score from the hard copy of the polling agents with the one collated at the ward level, it is then they can protest, because some of them, they made their own personal congestions, and some of them were interfacing with network in which they were posting their own projected results and not giving Nigerians a fake expectation that this person is likely to win or he has won the election, and which is not. You know, you can see the euphoria and the issue of protest and noise is not going down because they have gone to their own personal, their own internet something, and situation reminded they have not won the election.
Just where you anchored about protests going down north, some will not share that because The Labour Party, as this morning, says it's giving INEC until today. Today the court order that says allow these people inspect the election materials. Good enough, you're also a barrister law.
Yes.
INEC has not done that until, as I know, confirmed last night when the National Commissioner of INEC, Festus Okoye, spoke on that issue. Don't you think that's also disobedience to what the court has said on the part of INEC when there is a pronouncement that says allow them inspect election materials?
INEC has not disobeyed the court order. INEC is bound and is ready to comply with the court order to allow the political parties and candidates to inspect the electoral materials. And even as a matter of fact, even the APC that won the presidential election also go to court to seek for authority to have access to election materials.
Why do you think INEC is delaying that process? Labour Party says they would, instruct their followers across the country to occupy INEC offices in all of the states if that does not go through today.
Let me tell you, is the only one that is of paramount essence is the issue of the beavers. And that is why INEC has gone to court, because beavers is very, very critical for ensuring that our votes count.
That's one thing. The issue of the declaration of the beavers, the political party wants to, Labour Party wants to see how that is going. That has not been allowed. The inspection of election materials holistically, that was what the court says. And that also has not been allowed.
So, let me tell you, all this, in the process of inspection, there are a lot of activities that are involved. And I know that INEC will make available all the election materials for the presidential and national assembly elections. What Labour Party needs to do is to be patient, because there is still available time frame within which it can inspect those materials. They cannot stampede the nation for their own ulterior selfish interests, because the interests of Nigerians are more than the interest of an individual or a single political party. Like what happened in Kenya. They contested the election, there are a lot of abuses, there are a lot of character defamation, but at the end of the day, when the result of the election was announced, they all came together in a podium, embraced each other, and apologized to one another, and accepted the result of the election. And this is what I expect, that our political gladiators to be magnanimous and work together as a team for the progress of this nation. And the person that has been declared the president-elect, you could see the result of the election, that this is even the first time in Nigeria that it was a reflection of the mindset of Nigerians. Tinubu won based on constitutional requirement that 25% in 30 states.
But the contesting parties says all of these are also calculated, and that's why they say they're going to court.
And that is why the Electoral Act is so clear, the Constitution is so clear. For you to win at the tribunal or at the court, what you need to do, you don't need to tell Nigerians or tell other person that the other party has rigged election. What you need to prove as a political party that has lost election, or as a candidate that has lost election, go to the polling unit, get the result, collect the result, and with evidence and facts, and present it to the court.
Okay,
that is the best way, and that is what Papa Jashi during the period of Omoboriwo. This time around, it is extremely difficult for you to prove that the political party, particular candidate, has rigged election. What you need to do is that let on the scenery, collect the result. That is the only thing, because our vote must count, and you have to prove to Nigerians that actually based on the result on hand, because your polling agents are in those polling units, and at the collection center you have your own collection agent in that particular place. Collect all the result across the length and breadth of Nigeria and present it to the court, and not working on the sentiment of people using ethnicism or religion, this and that. And you could even discover that even the party that is actually contesting and complaining seriously is so regionally based, and is the only party, the only candidate that totally won all the states in his own region, which is not to the best interest of national unity in this country.
He also won states in other regions.
The other candidate, the two major candidates, Tinubu and Atiku Abubakar, was more or less totally rejected in the southeast, and which is not the best. And APC candidates and PDP candidates for senators and rep, the one that sits in those states, what could that one be? You could not see that there is ethnic bias on that basis.
We'll get into.
But you discover that. You see how APC spread acceptability across the country.
We'll get into the discussion of, because today, according to reports, the APC structure, the leadership, will also be meeting in Abuja. We'll get to talk about that before we leave this program. But for you, is INEC ready? Do you think INEC should get more time ahead of Saturday's poll, perhaps another postponement?
No.
I think they are ready for this.
No, they're ready. I listened to Okoye yesterday, the INEC commissioner, that INEC is fully ready.
And you think so? You believe that?
I believe. Even let me tell you, the complaints of some Nigerians and some observers and certain stakeholders about the presidential and national assembly election are not substantial to vitiate the result of the election, because there are no country in the world that can have perfection in the conduct of any election. It's not. But as the result or the process and the conduct of the election substantially comply with the constitution vis-a-vis the electoral act and electoral guidelines, if there is substantial compliance, and that's what is in the constitution and the electoral act, there must be substantial compliance because of human error. Even technology sometimes do fail, like there were glitches here and there on the server of the INEC, and unscrupulous individuals were trying to have interface as a way of manipulating the result. You know what actually happened? People can hack into your account, people can hack into your email in order to do what? Do fraudulent practices. And according to INEC, according to available information, about 160 attempts were made to have interface with the election transmission. But when INEC discovered that this thing is like, and they're not concentrated on the manipulation of the results of what they have from all the police units.
Concentration should also be on that heading into
because they know that Nigeria is a very wide country, so that it is when you do manipulation on the presidential, it will be difficult to actually dictate, unlike the state and senatorial and rep election. But a national election like presidential, if some people maybe have to, in the way of trying to have interface and manipulating it while deducting and multiplying, you know mathematics.
That was also one issue the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, the national chairman,
yes,
Sani Yabagi, also raised the fact that during last election there was perhaps no issue with the transmission of the results. And part of what also raised was why that was the presidential result that we couldn't get.
Because that was, those who want to try to be smart, their concentration was not on the Senate, well, their concentration was not on the rep. Their focus was on the presidential. And that is why, the platform for transmission of presidential is quite different from that of in that server. Everybody has no route. Just like when you want to go to the market to go and buy things. Where they are selling mama, where they are selling clothes, different stores, where to go. And the same thing, that of the presidential, those who want to work against the interests of Nigerians, they are focusing the result collected at the state collection center, in which the PDP, the NNPP, the APC, Labour Party, and all of them, they have authenticated across the 36 states and FCT that were brought to National Coalition Center. And I don't know why they can move at this particular period of time. But it's not because what they planned did not come to manifestation. But they have the right to go to court. If a political party, a particular candidate is not satisfied with the result, the court is there. Okay. Just only the result. You're a politician, Felix Alonge. I'm talking from the legal perspective. Of course,
I understand. We're switching the conversation now to what are some of the things that are likely to play out come March 18, governorship and Citizens House of an Assembly election.
Yes.
Good enough for not having governorship election here in
definitely.
House of Assembly election will hold, but other parts of Nigeria, some other states, you have governorship and Citizens House of Assembly election. How significant is this particular election that we're heading into? What kind of politics is likely also to play out? Some say we're likely to get a repeat of what happened in terms of the politicking during the National Assembly and the presidential election, or something different. What do you see?
Why we may not likely have bandwagon effect is that.
Do you believe we had a bandwagon effect?
That is why we may not have.
Do you think we had back then in the presidential and National Assembly election?
You know, the personality involved influence the victory of some of the senators elect and some of the rep elects. Okay, at the level of presidential, and you know the voters, their focus was on the presidential candidate. The moment they voted for the presidential candidate, the other, I mean, also I must vote for the Senate.
So that talks about how sophisticated the electorate are in Nigeria. That's also an issue. Able to make choices that, okay, I want this one, I do not want this one.
In most cases, you have a reflection of that. It is also just in a particular region that I actually mentioned that they were able to discriminate. They voted for a presidential candidate for a particular something, but when it got to the Senate and rep, they voted for the party, their local party.
Okay, so let's talk about the local party and the local politics at this time. Yeah. You say, just before we started this conversation, you said it's always quite difficult.
It's quite difficult, yes, exactly. Yes,
what are likely to play out?
Yeah, let me tell you what is likely to play out is that you could see in the past few days, you could see the tempo of campaign have been even more aggressive, more interesting than before because of local peculiarities. So that they have gone back to the drawing board, and they know that Nigerian electorate are now becoming more wiser in choosing their candidates because it is not easy. According to Plato, according to John Locke, it is my right, it is a legitimate right to be in that position as the president, to be in that position as the senator, to be in that position as an assembly member. But my legitimate right, I want to confide on you on my behalf to do certain things. But it's unfortunately because of ignorance, because of parochial sentiments, most of the voters, they don't know the relevance of that ballot paper. That ballot paper is their destiny. That is what they want in the nation. This is what I want this country to do for me. And in the process, who can I trust for me to do this thing for me? I got it now. And that is why the election that is coming, there are a lot of local variables. Oh, problem of land dispute, this particular person, the land is between you and their own community. If he is a party A or party B, because that, let me say my voting in this particular way.
Those sentiments are likely to also play out.
What is politics? Is it not sentiments? There is always political sentiments in most cases. But competence, capability are very, very important. But when it comes to the issue of a local politics, because the presidential rep and senate, that one is quite different. If you look at national, is more national in terms of perception in orientation. Are you getting it? But when it comes to the House of Assembly, I know what I'm facing in the environment, and we know other political gladiators, other party members are facing across the length and breadth of this country. That we have to work very hard. You have to convince the people that, oh, this my party, my candidate must be voted in. And that is why we constantly engage with the voters that this time around, particularly in Odo State, we need continuity because we have a performing governor. And that we want the House of Assembly that to be responsive to the expectation of the good people of Ondo State. And that is why we need a sizable majority that will support the policies and programs of Akedolo for the good interest of Ondo State. And that is like what is happening in Ondo State. Other governors are working assiduously. I even heard some of the governors, yesterday was Sunday service, right? Some of them even standing at the entrance of the church and now shaking hands with
that governor you're talking about is Babajide Sanwo-Olu, isn't it?
I can't say specifically, but I know some of the.
You saw video.
You saw video. You know, it is the type of that is because he knows, like others, that politics is about the people.
Does those kind of things also woo the prospective electorate? Those kind of gestures.
That is what Babangida said. That the failure of Peter Obi is the failure of religious politics in Nigeria, and it should not be. It should not be. Ethnicism should not be the basis. Regionalism is not supposed to be. All those are primordial sentiments, and that colored the conscience of the people that don't allow them to vote according to their conscience.
Mr. Alonge, this question is coming from just what you've said, because you said failure of religious politics. But for some politicians who are perhaps neglected that side of politicking, so to say, and they see the impact it could also have on a process.
Yes.
This is a veritable platform to explore.
Yes.
Don't you think politicians will also start going that route?
Because one of the candidates did that as if it was trying to solicit votes for him to become president. Go for churches to churches.
Some say it worked.
It worked, but it worked negatively to the interest of Nigerians, because that approach has brought disharmony, disunity, and particularly among the congregants. When a particular, maybe a minister of God, a regional overseer, telling members, oh, this is the way I want you to vote, against the conscience of the church members, what happens? You see people hatred among the church members, because what they need to do is to pray for good leadership, to pray for Nigeria, but not to turn their churches or their monks to campaign grounds. And that is why sections 92, 93, and 97 in the Electoral Act criminalize and ban political campaigns in the churches by the candidate, by the aspirants, and the political parties. And there is a conviction that is entrenched in the Electoral Act that any candidate or party that campaign in any church is liable to 12 years imprisonment or a fine of 1 million naira. And if it is a political party, it's liable to 10 million fine. But unfortunately, there wasn't sufficient sensation and enlightenment to Nigerians that it is not allowed for any candidate or for any religious leader to talk about any candidate or campaign for any candidate within the confinement of the church, within the confinement of the mosque, within the confinement of any public office, within the confinement of any palace, as far as the Electoral Act is concerned. It bans the campaign and criminalizes it. Okay. But unfortunately, some of the political parties exploit that unholy step to seek support, because religion is a powerful instrument in Nigeria. And that is why Kama says religion is the opium of the people, because it colors your thinking. And that is why most of the party members were put under duress and intimidation.
You're a political scientist, and So political parties still have a few days to wrap up and tidy things for campaign heading into Saturday's poll. Perhaps what you think could be the turning point for political parties that would likely come out tops in that election? What areas you think they need to
what they need to do, I've told you initially, and which is known, democracy is about the people. They must go directly.
Is it not late to win the people? Is
24 hours is a long journey in politics. Within 24 hours, even 3 hours. For me,
you can align.
So let me tell you, for me, I know what I did in one area. People are thinking that APC may not likely win, APC may not likely win, but we had a resounding victory because we did what is supposed to be done in a democratic way, in an open manner. What we need to do is to have direct interface and explain to them why you must vote in this particular way, why you must vote for our candidate. Like what Mr. Governor is telling us, it will be to the best interest of the good people of Ondo State. If Ondo State came first on the percentage basis in the presidential election, which is good for us, it means we have very good thing to put on the table before Bola Tinubu to get our best.
Good enough you mentioned the issue of putting things on the table, and that takes us to Abuja now, where the All Progressives Congress, APC, the National Working Committee, the President-elect, and the National Assembly members-elect will be meeting today. We understand that meeting is for 2 p.m.
Yes.
And part of the reports we're also getting is about the issue of who gets what and how what is shared.
Yes.
Talking about putting things on the table.
Yes,
all of these dynamics.
Yes.
How difficult do you think it will be for the APC in preparing for this transition, particularly having at the back of our mind that some intrigues had played out some years ago?
Definitely. It's going to be a Herculean task for the APC because APC must put into consideration the larger interests of Nigerians, because Nigeria is a heterogeneous and a plural state in which we have a lot of interest. We have talked about religion, we talk about ethnic groups, we talk about religion. They also have their own part to play, and the issue of Muslim ticket, what is generated at that particular project time. This is the right period in which APC must convince Nigerians that it is a party for the interest of all demographic variables in this country.
APC were able to sell the Muslim ticket, and until now it has worked. Looking at the outcome of the result, and part of what they sold to Nigerians was the issue of competence.
Exactly.
So why now do we now need to backtrack or some sort of take a peek back? Is the APC correcting? Are they setting out to correct a mistake or something?
Because religion, for the purpose of seeking political power, should not be a major factor. Because what is really magic? At that particular time, APC has no choice to do that at that particular time. When you look at the demographic configuration of Nigeria, vis-a-vis our religion, the religious composition in Nigeria. I told you earlier that Tinubu is from the southwest, dominated by the Christians, and he's a Muslim. Are you getting now? It means he's from a minority Muslim environment. And the northern part of the country is dominated by the Muslim. Whether we like it or not, we know the bias.
So they have a choice now, in essence.
Now the APC has a choice to do balancing, because there are other critical positions in which those who feel that they are going to carry their law will be duly compensated, and for them to have a sense of belonging to the Nigerian project. The position of the Senate President, for me, to be be given to Christians, particularly anybody from the south or southeast, for them to feel a sense of belonging to this nation. We have the Speaker of the House of Representatives. We have the SGF, Secretary to the Government of the Federation, is a critical position. And in doing that, they must look at the President is a Muslim, the Vice President is a Muslim. There must be balancing, so that in the future election, Nigerians will feel secured. Issue of whether the ticket is Christian or Muslim will no longer be the focus of Nigerians. Oh, it is competence, it is the capacity, it is the interest of Nigerians that will be those factors they will be considering. And that is why Tinubu has to do a lot of things to ensure that, oh, the hope Nigerians have built on him is realized for his own conception of a renewed hope for a new nation, Nigeria.
But I saw also some persons who believe there should also be reward for those who have perhaps done very well. Just like you mentioned here, in those states that had the wildest percentage margin of win for the APC.
Yes.
There are also other regions who feel we also did very well by contributing to the eventual success of this party, and perhaps we should also be given a chance in all of these critical positions. Don't you also think that's tenable?
It's tenable. Before, you said APC at the party leadership and those have elected, they are not have interface because they want to avoid the mistake in the first tenure of Buhari, in which another party was made the Senate president.
It's a Akidogara issue.
Yes, it's a Akidogara issue, and that affected the performance of the government. When an opposition is controlling the national parliament, it's very dangerous. They said the fact that APC had majority, but because they couldn't manage their own affairs. But this time around, APC has come to this sense that the first what we need to do is that let's settle our home and prepare to work along with the other parties.
How easy?
Because there will be alignment.
How easy do you think that settling will
politics is a game of number. Let me tell you, it is we at the local level that are fighting with each other. But at the level of that place, you see the way they romance with them. Politics is about national interest. Politics is about individual interest. Now it has gotten to, apart from national interest, individual interest, what do we need to gain? They have to collaborate. Even most of the LP senators and rep members, they work along because they want to have their own fair share.
Fair share of what?
Of positions, because your relevance in politics is the dividend of governance and democracy you are able to bring to your people. Why am I struggling? Why am I?
So even if it means compromising?
It's not compromising. It's a matter of negotiation. Because in passing laws, in making decisions, we have constitutional requirements of number. I get your constitutional requirement, and for you to do that, you cannot do it alone. That is why we are so happy that this is the most liberal National Assembly, in which we have no less than 8 political parties that have representation in the National Assembly. It has reflected the various sections of this country, and we know that with Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the National Assembly, Nigeria will move forward.
Thank you so much, Barrister Felix Alonge, has been speaking with us on the issue of Nigeria's 2023 election, general election, and of course ahead of March 18 state houses of assembly election as well as the governorship election. Thank you so much, Barrister, for coming on the program.
I appreciate it.
And if we have more time, perhaps.
There's a lot to be discussed.
You also told me you'll be hitting the ground running.
Yes.
Back to the ground.
I go them to my village.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir.
That's the size of our program for today. Do well to enjoy your Monday and the rest of the week. I'm Sahid Aribisala. Bye-bye.